Good evening, everybody joining us on the Facebook Live tonight. Thank you for joining us. And we've got three very special guests here today. Two of them are ladies who have one is going through the struggle of having heavy, big breasts, and the other has gone through her surgery. And we will just touch base with them and let them have a chance to tell us where they are at in life and how things are going with them. And then our third very, very special guest is the well sought after Dr. Bruce Lelala. Welcome. Welcome,
Thank
everyone
you.
online. Thank you for joining
Thank you,
us.
Cindy.
So, to start off with, let me just tell you a little bit about our Dr. Bruce Lelala. He's a guy that hails from a little town in the Eastern Cape. And good people come from the Eastern Cape because this is where I'm from. He now, though, resides in Johannesburg, and you can find his consultation rooms in Hyde Park, if I'm not mistaken. He
That's correct.
has done so much in the realm of education. I cannot believe it. If I must read to you all the things that he's done, we'll be here until next week. But what is amazing for me when I read up on you, Dr. Lelala, was about him being only the second Black surgeon to qualify as a plastic surgeon from UCT. Congratulations on that awesome achievement. I mean, really, we are in the presence of greatness, aren't we? I see the online audience is growing, guys, and we are just so happy to have you here, onliners. Let everyone else know that we have gone live. I must apologize for us being a few minutes late. You know what technical problems are. And before I go on with the rest of it, let me introduce myself. I am Cindy von Villig, and you can find me as an admin on the South Africa breast reduction support group. Because I myself have gone through the surgery of breast reduction. I'll maybe chat to you about it a little bit later, but I want to focus on the ladies and doctor right now. So, doctor, can you tell us, I know you've told us before, but some of us are new and some of us need a reminder. What is macromestia?
So macromestia means that the breasts are big. So as soon as the patient experiences symptoms, for example, back pain, neck pain, chronic headaches, they can even get migraines, and also numbness of the fingers. So if a patient presents with a clinical picture like that, and the breasts are more than a certain range, we do what we call anthropometric measurement. If your measurements are above that average range or a number for a normal breast, then the diagnosis is macromestia. So you have macromestia, and then you have gigantomastia, which is another form of large breast. But in general, macromestia means big breast.
Big breasts, yes.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I can just ask you to speak up a little bit. If you can just speak a little bit louder for me. I think we
Okay.
are struggling a little bit to hear. So macromestia, like the doctor said, is when women suffer with very big breasts. And, we look in society and we see this, we see it everywhere. And it's actually just so sad and such a shame. And I must say, like I said, I suffered with that. And at first people think that it's an accomplishment. It's lovely to have big breasts. But in fact, the backaches and the headaches and the numbness is so symptomatic, so tough to deal with, that it becomes a medical condition, hey. And Nkosi, who was meant to join us, she is on the road, that exact road that we are talking about. she experiences the big breasts and the heaviness and the headaches and has not been able to fetch her strawberries yet. But Nkosi, hopefully you can still join us, and if you can, we'll give you some time to talk so you can just tell us how your life is being impacted right now. And yes, if there's anyone in the comments, if you want to have a question for any of us or one of the ladies, and I see there's already a question, but I'll save that for a little bit later. So, I think Nkosi's trying to join. Give us just 2 seconds. I would really like to have her online. Nkosi, are you there? Nkosi, can you hear us? We can hear you. Nkosi. No, I don't think she. Are you there, darling? No, I don't. I don't think this is. Nkosi, when you are able to join us, give me a thumbs up. I will see you, and then I will add you back onto this to the stream. Okay. For now, I'm gonna mute your mic. Okay. I think it's muted. Oh no.
Okay, so was
Yes.
struggling to connect.
She's struggling. She is, yes. But we'll move on. We'll move on. To Sikulele. Sikulele, thank you for joining us. Now you were a very fortunate lady to have had the surgery done by our very sought after Dr. Bruce Lelala. Can you tell me what your life is like since your surgery? Can you tell us some, do you look at that smile on your face? You look very happy. Talk to us about how your life is right now.
Good evening to all the viewers. I had my breast reduction last year, July, and my life has since changed. I am so happy and I cannot stop smiling. Wherever I go, if I get into the shops, I go into the dresses section because I never put on a full dress before. But now that's what I go for, and I feel very comfortable in them. I can now run, do all the activities that were difficult for me before, and my life has changed so much. Thank you to Dr. Bruce Lelala.
Thank you, Dr.
You're
Bruce, for that.
welcome.
Yes, that beautiful story. Sikulele, thank you for sharing with us. I mean, this is quite an intimate journey. And there are so many of us that go through it, but I think we need to have conversations like this much more. I don't know if you agree, Dr. Lelala. There are many people going through this and suffering and not realizing that they can start feeling like Sikulele feels.
Yeah. No, most certainly. I mean, I thank the breast reduction group for having such a platform where we can share information and knowledge about this condition, and to try and assist as many people as we can, because this is really a functional operation, not as it's not supposed to be viewed as a cosmetic operation like it was viewed in the past, and also by the medical aid fraternity.
Yes.
So yes, I
Yes.
completely agree with you that we need more of these platforms where we can educate our people, and also platforms where people can get more information around this condition.
Exactly. Yes, there are so many comments coming through, and I just want to talk about one or two of them. The ones from Claudia Mankis. Claudia says, I struggle to talk about how I feel. It just hurts me so much. So, Claudia, you are obviously not at the place where you can have the reduction yet. And we feel for you. And just remember that here is a place where you can talk, and actually there are a few of us going through it all at the same time, and that's why it's called a support group. So when you need that kind of support, you know where to turn to. Tashi Comps, she says, wow, that she must be talking to you, Sukle. I wish my day could come.
Me
And
too.
Tashi, it might come. It is the most worthwhile thing you can do for yourself. So, Dr. Lelala, I think we can say goodbye to you now, and then you can watch online if you want to. I just needed to have you online to share with Phyllis so they can see a face. There's nothing like seeing a face and adding the story to it. So thank you for joining us, and then the doctor and I will continue together.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, Skuli.
Okay. So now, doctor, it's just you and I.
Yeah.
And and so, like I was saying, viewers, this doctor has got some letters behind his name that if we talk and talk until next week, we will be here. But the one thing I do also want to focus on is that he's just come back from the UK, where he's had a fellowship. Now, I need to explain what a fellowship is, because you will just realize how much more we are just so blessed and special to have him in our presence. Now, a fellowship is where you have already specialized in a field. You then go deeper into that field, and you become what I have labeled myself and the doctor when we were talking earlier as a super specialist. So our Dr. Bruce Lelala is a super specialist in plastic surgery, and we are so happy to have you back. And congratulations, because viewers have also been told that out of worldwide applications, only two is accepted, and our Dr. Lelala was one of them to do this fellowship. So do you want to talk to us about your experience over there in the UK doing the fellowship?
Thank you, Cindy. Yes. So you're correct. So I went for my fellowship in the UK. I was based in Nottingham, which is one of the leading centers in the world for breast work, in particular oncoplastic breast surgery. So I had a very fantastic time there. The experience was incredible. So the main aim of me doing this fellowship was to advance my skills, and also to broaden my knowledge and my skills in oncoplastic breast surgery and also microsurgery. So I
can you
did.
explain to us? Can you explain to us what microsurgery and what oncoplastic surgery? What did you call it?
Yes.
What those
Yes.
two terms actually entail?
Oncoplastic breast surgery. So microsurgery is it's a field of plastic surgery where we deal with very complex operations. For example, if a patient was involved in major trauma and needs major reconstruction using, for example, free flaps, then those patients come to a microsurgeon. So it's where we do delicate, complex operations where we use microscopes to attach blood vessels and nerves. And so in our country, for example, there's currently probably just over 200 plastic surgeons, qualified plastic surgeons in the country at the moment. And probably out of those 200, there's less than 15 microsurgeons with fellowships. So it is a very, very, very scarce skill in the country and also in our continent at large. So so I wanted to have these skills. For example, when I left, I was still based in Cape Town, and we only have probably about 3 or 4 microsurgeons in the whole of Western Cape. And I wanted to add to a pool of my skills and become a microsurgeon. So oncoplastic breast surgery, so it's still a fairly new field within plastic surgery. So what we do as oncoplastic surgeons, we bring in the plastic surgery principles and the aesthetic principles into breast surgery and breast cancer operations. So in the past, patients will come in and have a mastectomy. You have a mastectomy and a flat breast.
Removal.
Yes. And so with the new techniques and this new specialty of oncoplastic, so breast cancer patients now, they can have, normal breasts post their
Wow.
breast cancer operations. So we can either reconstruct your breast immediately after we've taken out the cancer, or we can do delayed operations.
Within the same operation.
Correct, correct. So the aim of oncoplastic surgery is to for you after a breast cancer operation to have normal breast. In this way, it adds. There have been a couple of studies that have been published whereby it shows that there's a significant advantage, in doing this, in recreating a, a normal or a near normal breast after having breast cancer. You know, the advantages psychologically, socially, and even sexually. Because you can imagine a
I can
female
imagine.
with a flat breast or an ugly looking breast, because sometimes they will just go in and take where the breast cancer is, and then you are left with a defect, with a abnormally
Yeah, so
shaped breast.
they just go in and do the operational part, what is
Yes,
needed to fix. And I can
yes, correct.
imagine how this surgery has quite a huge impact on the psychological, I mean,
Yeah.
the
So
psychological life of the patient in order to feel, I mean, like how they say a man's manhood, a
yeah,
woman's womanhood is in her breasts, and for her to maybe have gone through whatever it is she might have had to go through and then
yeah,
have surgery and have it removed,
yeah,
I can imagine
yeah.
depression, suicide, all of those things coming
And
off of that.
of
And
course,
if yes, and if we with this we are addressing that and just making it, I don't know, more just more accessible to for people to just feel human again and to be
yeah,
able to love themselves again.
yeah. So, being diagnosed with cancer, with breast cancer or any form of cancer, already it is, it weighs a lot
Huge.
on psychological well-being. So at least if at the end of it you can still have your normal breast, that goes a
Or
long,
something close to
long,
it,
long
yes.
way. Yeah.
That's hit quite close to home because my mother actually had breast cancer. She didn't get to the stage of the surgery of removal, but she did pass due to the breast cancer. And
So,
I can imagine. So that's why I say the psychological effect that this is now sort of countering is must be huge. That's great. It's such good news to hear.
yeah.
Um, I Tashi says I know exactly what you mean by the effect on your psychologically.
Mm.
Um, and we're already getting questions about it being covered by medical aid. We will touch on medical aid issues in a second, everybody. So what having this knowledge now, Doctor, what is your aspirations and for South Africa and the South, having so few people who are able to go into this within our reach in South Africa, and Africa, what are your aspirations for us?
Well, you know, I must start by saying that I was very lucky and fortunate to have this opportunity to go abroad and acquire these scarce skills and bring them back to our African continent. So I think my aspirations and dreams that I would love for the public and the private sector to work together
Mm-hmm.
so that we can share these experiences and these skills, and also encourage other plastic surgeons to go abroad and further their skills. so that we can bring these, first world skills into our country and into our continent. So I'm willing to share my experiences with with colleagues, to teach other people in both public and private sector, so that we can have a broader pool of people who can offer these type of services. So, like I had said, we only have less than 15 microsurgeons in the country, and we have a population of almost over 60 million people. So you can imagine how how scarce the skill is, and then also, especially during these times now, where I'm going back to the point of saying I wish that the public and the private sector can work together at some point, to share these skills and to help a much more broader pool of population. So I lost my
train of thought. We were talking about how we would bring this home to South Africa and the continent. And I think you've actually answered that question, where you are wanting to, make yourself available to work with local guys, and you want to actually encourage them to do this kind of thing, where they do the fellowship and where they learn these skills, because they are scarce and a big.
And my other dream also is to hopefully have centers of excellence in terms of not only for breast work but also for other disciplines, whereby we have these multidisciplinary teams. I think we have a few in the country. I think in Cape Town we had one at Grooteskuur, where one day a week we will meet as a group of specialists, and then we will see patients. For example, we had a combined breast cancer clinic, where you have an oncologist, you have a plastic surgeon, you have a breast surgeon, you have other disciplines, geneticists. So if we can have such centers in our country, both private and public, so that when you are diagnosed with cancer, you are not sent from one specialist to another, because that becomes a bit of a frustration for the patient.
And it does become your life, you're right.
You have cancer, you get treated here, they do your x-rays and imaging here, you go to another center for chemo, you come back, you see another surgeon,
your doctor.
So if we can have centers of excellence, where you have all these services in one place, I think that will be very great, because this is what the first world countries are doing. You have a whole center where they, it's a breast center, and all they deal with, it's all forms of
all the aspects.
And then you have trauma centers, where you have trauma specialists, orthopedics. It's like, So that is a comprehensive.
That is a beautiful dream for our country. That is a beautiful dream for our country, and I hope and I pray that we actually get to that, and just knowing that there are people who already have the seed inside of them to want that for South Africa and Africa to and I mean, really, they say teaching is a calling. What you are doing, I can see that this is a calling. You want to help. And that is so beautiful to see, just right from where I'm sitting. I can already see that you wanna really help, because everybody always says, I want to help people, I want to help. You are doing what you can to help, and that brings me back to your pro bono work. And I don't know if the guys online know that Dr. Lelala has done some pro bono work, and actually Sikuhle, who was online earlier, was one of his ladies who he did pro bono. And so, Doc, will that be continuing? Are you still going to be doing some pro bono work?
Yes, definitely. That is one of my passions, to help people. I came into medicine to help people, so I will certainly continue with my pro bono work.
Excellent.
And there are some developments. I've been approached by several organizations, and there's also an NGO that's been created by Miss Musa here in Joburg. So she will be approaching a number of companies where we will be seeking funding so that I can be able to help more people who are in need of these operations. Because if you look at our public sector, they are overwhelmed with
Yes.
load of work, and also the past 2 years didn't help as well with COVID. Now the backlog for other operations it's huge, and usually breast reductions, if I may put it that way,
They
they're
like
not
right on the
prioritized.
bottom.
Yeah, they're not prioritized in the public sector because of the theater time. It's a scarce. It's
Yes.
scarce, and there's
And the
loads of
people
other
coming in with the gunshot and and the
true,
brain surgery, and
true.
they are
And you have
overwhelmed.
people with cancer on the side, and so
Exactly.
there is
Yes.
so that is why I was saying earlier that I wish that the public and the private sector can work together so that we can help alleviate these backlogs.
Yes.
So yes, I will continue with the pro bono work. There will be developments
Yes.
that
And
will
as
be
those
happening.
developments happen, I'm sure you will let us know so that we can let the community know on the
No,
breast reduction groups so that
most
I know
definitely.
Tashi's crying for you to consider her. And I know that there's a
Yeah,
lengthy process to
yeah,
become that chosen one.
yeah,
And it's so Tashi, we see what you're saying, but it's unfortunately not that easy.
yeah,
What makes me happy though is that we know that there will be someone who will benefit from this, someone who really needs it, and there will be someone whose life is easier and happier. And
yeah.
for that person, we are very, very happy.
Okay. So
I
yes,
want to
just
ask you. Yes.
Cindy, just to add on before I forget on the pro bono part. So, like I said, there's been a lot of developments and a lot of discussions with potential um, the funders, and we are also in discussion with a group from Kenya because they also have a similar group for breast reductions. So watch the space. There will be something big happening in the later part of the
Great.
where we're going to collaborate with a team from Kenya, and
That's
then we will be
excellent.
able to probably run a pro bono week where we will be just doing these ops
Yeah, so
for
everyone,
communities.
keep your eyes on the group,
Yeah,
keep your eyes on the page, and information will be there. And so that's really all we can say about it right now. It's like keep your eyes peeled and be there when it's time to do applications and all the rest. So
yeah.
that is really that's good to hear. I wanted to ask you, is there anything different that you have learned about breast reduction surgery? Now, having had some experience in the UK, is there anything different that you've learned there from what we do here, what you've been doing here?
Uh, most certainly, yes. There's a lot that I've learned, in particular for breast reduction. So, if I may paint a picture for you, the UK system, the center that I was, they have 18 plastic surgeons, consultants, 18. So
Wow.
in our
And
country,
didn't you say that that's the same amount for like our whole country? Almost.
well, yeah, for this one center, there's 18 qualified consultants, plastic surgeons that are running the department. If you compare that to some of our departments in the country here, most of them they have four consultants running the
Wow.
department. So, and also in terms of theater time, they have lists every day from Monday to Friday. We have a whole day list in different theater. Some days you have 2, 3 lists just for breast. So this is a center where they've done thousands and thousands of these operations, and so I was amongst people with massive experience, huge experience, and you learn things that you won't learn from textbooks,
Yeah.
because these people, they've refined techniques, they've published thousands of papers. So definitely, I learned a lot, and I think the experience has improved, a lot in terms of my technique. And
Yeah.
also, small things, the sutures that they used, that different from what we use here. And I've brought some of those back home in terms of changing now what I'm using in terms of the suture materials, for example. And also in terms of pain management, before I left, some of the patients would complain about pain. But ever since my return, the patients that I operate, the pain, yeah. So
Listen,
the pain is almost
I complained big
non-existent
time about pain.
post breast surgery. So those are the things, the little things that you won't learn from textbooks, but you will learn from experience centers like Nottingham, where I was. And also in terms
Wow.
of, minimizing complications. And also, if
Mm.
you do have complications, how to best manage them. So yes, I've learned a great deal in terms of breast reductions, and also broadly. I mean, yeah, my skills have improved.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're a blessing. You're a blessing to South Africa, to your people. So there are a few questions, guys. I think there are some heavy questions coming through on the stream, Dr. Lelala. And I
okay,
think that maybe as admins will pick out one or two of those questions and maybe get you personal answers, because I think it takes more than just this conversation that we are having here now to go in depth with some of the things that the ladies want to know. And I
yeah,
love the fact that they have a place to ask that. So don't feel like I'm ignoring you. We will have a look at your questions, and over the next few days or even couple of weeks, give us some time. We also, as admins, have other things to handle, and we'll try and come back to you on a personal level. So I just want you guys to feel settled with that. Let me get back to you, Dr. Lelala. How would you say is the best for what is the best way to prepare for for the breast reduction operation as the patient going in?
I think, you know, the mistake that I've seen people do throughout my experience is that um, people, they get overwhelmed with, with the fact that they want to do a breast reduction, and they don't think about other factors on the side. That post your breast reductions, your reduction, you need support. So psychologically, I think you need to include that this is going to be a journey. So it's not just about the operation, but it's a holistic approach to your surgical operation. So this is a big operation. We're talking
Yeah,
about a 4 to 4.5 hour operation in theater, and your recovery time is, you're looking at about 3 to 6 weeks to recover. And also the
exactly.
first 10 days are the most difficult ones, where you're going to need support. You won't be able to bath yourself for the first 3 days. You won't be able to drive. You won't be. So these are all the factors that people need to bear in mind. And I think the best way to prepare is perhaps use such platforms, speak to someone who's done a breast reduction before, and also, most importantly, have a lengthy discussion with your specialist. It
Mm.
shouldn't be a 5-minute consultation. If you're not happy, ask more questions, because this is a big deal. It is a big operation, and you need all the support, uh, post-operatively. So,
I can attest to that. I can really attest to that because I don't know, I'm a planner, I'm a preparer, I'm also a, what do they call it? Um, when you just think of something and do it immediately,
Yeah.
spontaneous person. I'm all of those in one. But when
Yeah.
I was going for this breast operation, I Googled everything every day, or I watched videos on people who have gone for breast reduction, and I actually learned that in different countries different things apply. I learned that possibly you will have drains, and I
Yeah.
mean that's something that the surgeon probably knows, but maybe doesn't mention because that's sort of standard. And so doing research about what, and even on my, I have a YouTube channel as well, so even on my channel I've decided to then make some videos where I just talk about what I've been through. And one big thing that I never thought of in preparation to your breast reduction, please realize that you will be laying on your back for about
Yeah.
5 weeks post surgery. You will be on your back. You need to be comfortable. It's
Yeah.
frustrating, but know that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
So
actually, like, one day I just turned to my side and I thought, wow, and it was, but
yeah.
it's a journey.
So yeah, just to sum it up, to answer your question, I think the patient, they need to, to prepare well in advance. Uh, for your first consultation, have a list of questions that you want to ask
Yes.
your specialist, and then also on the day of your operation, you need to bring someone with you, and then during the markings, the doctor has to go through the complications with you, and also bear in mind that this is a big operation, and it's a surgical operation, so there are potential complications that might happen, and psychologically you need to
Mm.
prepare yourself to deal with those complications should they arise, because now it means
Do
that
you want to
if you
take
have.
us through one or two of those complications? Sorry to cut you off. Do you want to take us through one or two of those complications that could happen?
So most common complications that can happen, you can have wound infection or wound breakdown, especially around what you call the
Oh.
T junction, because that's where
Mm-hmm.
the most tension is. Um, you can have problems with your nipples. You can have reduced sensation, and that can take months to come back, or in a certain percentage of patients that never returns. And then the worst
Mm-hmm.
complication will be to lose the nipple because of the blood supply, especially in patients with big reductions, because the blood supply to the nipple can be compromised, and then you end up losing the nipple.
Mm-hmm.
So if that
Okay.
happens, and it can happen, I mean, it happens in probably about 1 to 2% of the population around the
Oh,
world.
goodness.
So so those are some of the complications that can happen, and also you can have problems with swelling. You have bruising, and like I said earlier, wound infection. So those are the common complications. So you need to be prepared, and you need to have those discussions with your doctor to say,
Mm.
as soon as you have such a complication, you should be able to inform your practitioner to assist with
Yes.
those complications early. So yeah.
Yeah, you should know what to look out for. And yes, to prepare yourself and not yeah, like you say, prepare yourself. That
Mm.
I think is really good advice. Thank you for that. Um I think we're sort of getting towards the end of our interview tonight. Um I Is there anything more that you want to say?
I can tell you more complications and how to manage them.
Okay.
Okay, okay, since that was our last question. So some of the complications, that to elaborate more. So you can get what we call seromas, which is a fluid collection. It's not an infected fluid; it's just a fluid collection that you can have, and that might need to be drained. And usually we use a needle to drain that collection. Sometimes we will need an ultrasound guided aspiration, and it might have to be done a few times, the drainage. or acutely after operation, you can bleed and get what we call a hematoma, which is a clot collection, and you might need to be taken back to theater for those clots to be taken out and for the bleeding to be controlled. But with the techniques that we use, we hardly see that hematomas, and then you can get fat necrosis, because remember that you are molding the breast, and some parts of the fat in your breast might be compromised, might not get enough blood supply, and then it dies, and then it forms lumps, small lumps. So sometimes after breast reduction, you can feel lumps on your breast. Those are, it's not something to worry about. You can use massaging. You have to massage at least 4 times a day, and usually that improves. You don't need an operation to remove those lumps. And what else must I tell you about? Oh, yeah, breastfeeding. Yeah, breastfeeding. So
Oh, yes.
about a third of the patients, you can breastfeed. In fact, with the technique that we use, you can breastfeed more. I mean, more patients can breastfeed, and then probably another 2/3 can breastfeed, but they will have to supplement, and then probably 10% of the patients, they can't breastfeed post
Okay.
action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I would like to know, and I'm sure, like, yes, from the beginning of the stream, people have been asking, are there any new developments when it comes to medical aids? Because we often get, I mean, I myself got a no from the medical aid. Are there new developments when it comes to the medical aid getting on board and not considering this as cosmetic as they do?
Yeah. Well, slightly, yes. The discussions are there, of which it's a big step. So there are discussions going on, and we are trying to justify it from our specialty side that this is not a cosmetic operation, and otherwise it is a constant battle, not only in our country but in many other
Okay.
countries abroad, including the USA. So, and it's been like this for many years, but we are hoping that this can change, because we've published articles showing the stats and showing evidence medically that this is not a cosmetic operation, it is a functional operation. So but I must say I have seen improvements with certain medical aids. They tend now to approve. Especially, I think they look at your trend as a specialist and see if you have. I guess they gauge the number of complications that you have. So if you have lesser complications, from what I've observed, that you get to they get to approve easier or more for your request for your patients. Uh,
Understood.
I don't know. I don't know with other specialties, but that's what I've observed in my practice. That perhaps maybe they gauge that, okay, you don't have too many complications, then they will approve easier. But yes, it is a constant battle, and I'm aware that there is a petition that has been started by the breast group, and I believe that there's more than 50,000 people who've signed
More
that
than
petition.
50,000
Yeah,
signatures.
yeah. So yes, I think we should continue engaging the medical aids, because people are paying a lot of money for for their medical aid cover, and
Yes.
they should be covered to improve their function, because most people, it affects your back, it affects you. You can't sleep at night, you have chronic back pain, you have migraines, it affects your work output, and psychologically, you know you tend to take days off work, so medical aids should be acknowledging that this is actually a functional operation, and agree to pay for these operations. We are not asking for much. I
Yes.
mean, it's it's breast reduction, which is functional, and they should consider it
Yes.
as.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you. And then the last time we spoke, you made mention of a skincare range. Do you want to tell us some more about that?
Yes, well, this is part of my range, but I've actually I was supposed to launch last year, but I put that on hold because I was going abroad, um, and then also it gave me more time to refine certain things because I've added uh, a serum that's gonna deal with pigmentation, especially on the dark skin, and then also I've also developed a post-surgical cream, soothing cream for the chest and the neck. So I will be launching these products formally in September this year. So watch the space, and
Yes.
they will be on the shelves soon. I have a phenomenal team behind these products, fantastic team, and we are working hard so that we can launch in September. And
Yes.
anyone who comes to my practice in Hyde Park for consultations, they do get samples, and the feedback so far it's been fantastic. It's been amazing. So which
Excellent.
motivates me
Yeah.
more to actually launch in September.
Can I
Sorry.
just be the first, or actually the second, because Tashi already says congratulations, congratulations on this, and it's very exciting, especially for me. I mean, I've been through the surgery, and if there's something out there for pigmentation and for scars, I'm going to be first in line to get
Yeah.
my hands on that, because although as you guys have done it up to now, even scarring is sort of hidden, but there are some of us who would like to address that, and I'm one of
Yeah.
those people. So thank you very much for thinking of us, and coming out with this beautiful skincare range. We will look out for it as soon as it is launched. We will on the group be advertising and letting the girls know where you can find it. Claudia saying prices, please, but I don't know if you even have that now. September's so far away already. Yes, we will let you guys know all those things as we know them. And today was just so informative, and thank you so much for your time, Dr. Lelala. It has been such a privilege to be able to speak to somebody who is a super surgeon, somebody who is so grounded at the same time, someone who is able to really have a heart for the people and the women
Yeah.
out there and their well-being, and it's sort of like the holistic well-being. And we are just really so proud to have you as a South African being able to do all these things that you've gone over and made sure that your skills are, you've upskilled yourself, and
Yeah.
just congratulations and thank you, and we are so proud.
Thank you.
And I'm all the way down in PE. I mean, how do I get samples? I'm sure that's what everybody else also wants to know. But yes, thank you. Even to Kosi and Suki for allowing us to share their very personal journeys. And
Yeah.
um, because I've been through it, I feel with you, ladies, and I actually am one of those girls that had to save up for it. And I wanted to give it to myself as a 40th birthday present, but then I had to wait a little bit longer. And it is the best decision that I have ever made, the best money I have ever spent. And I tell you, the last pain I felt in my shoulders was that morning when I went in. So if you are able to save up for it, able to go and sign in for programs where you possibly can get some help, do it, ladies. It is the best decision that I have ever ever made. And I'm just so proud that we can have somebody who cares so much for the ladies out there that can do pro bono work. And so I'm saying thank you very much on behalf of all the women, the heavy chested women out there, Doctor. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for
No,
all
thank you
you
so
are
much, Cindy.
doing for us.
So much. Thank you so much. And I must say, thank you for having me. And and I must say, it's very nice to be back home. I'm loving the food and also the weather because, geez, UK was cold.
Yes,
UK was
yes.
very, very cold, and the food was not great, but the overall experience was phenomenal. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us online. I want to remind you of the breast reduction groups. Go on there, talk to each other, and like and share those pages, and so that we can reach more women. And this was Cindy signing out with
Okay.
today's Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us. Take good care, Doctor.
All right, Cindy. For those, because I see that there's a lot of questions, so I'm happy to continue on my Instagram page for those who want to ask me
Oh, that
questions.
was another question I
So,
needed to ask you. Yes, where can
yeah.
we find you?
So I am on Instagram, Dr. Bruce Lelala. I am on Facebook, same handle, Dr. Bruce Lelala, and and my website it's www.drbrucelelala.co.za. That's where most of the information is in terms of where my practice is based. But otherwise, I'm full time now in Johannesburg, even though I'm busy restructuring my practice. But I am in Johannesburg on a permanent full time base now, and my practice is based in Hyde Park Mall.
Okay.
All right.
Excellent. So I'm glad we know where to find you. What we'll do is we'll put that all your details where people can find you in descriptions and links and comments on the group. And yes, with that, then I will say my final goodbye. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
joining
Cindy.
us. Good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone at home.
Cheers. Good night.